Clear, but one thing is clear. By nearly 2-to-1, the public believes Democrats are the party of change. John?
Advantage Democrats with 2 months to go. Bill Schneider, thank you very much. Now, many of this year's critical House races are in suburban districts, now held by Republicans, places where the GOP's message of low taxes and tough on terror usually sells. But this year, opposition to the war in Iraq and the unpopularity of President Bush is raising Democratic hopes. The 6th Congressional District, just outside of Chicago, is one of those places. And our congressional correspondent, Dana Bash, is there. Dana?
Well, John, for Democrats to wrestle control back from Republicans of Congress this election year, it is just precisely this kind of suburban area that they're going to have to win. Republican Congressman Henry Hyde served here for more than 3 decades, and the race to replace him, he is retiring, is now a toss-up.
It's a typical weekend in a textbook American suburb, high school football. Visit the stands full of Republican parents, and frustration with Washington this election year is palpable.
I'm a registered Republican, but I will definitely vote for change and probably vote Democrat because that's change.
Good to see you guys today.
That's a problem for Republican Peter Roskam in this GOP stronghold outside Chicago.
Hi, how are you? I'm Senator Peter Roskam, running for Congress. It's nice to see you today.
In any other year, he would likely be a shoo-in, but this is not any other year. His pitch combines classic suburban issues like tax cuts with one of this year's hot topics, immigration.
Secure our borders with stronger enforcement, oppose amnesty, oppose taxpayer-subsidized health care for illegals.
Excellent.
That's what I'm for, man. And that ain't complicated.
And while Democrats are trying to nationalize this election, seeds on voter discontent in Washington, Peter Roskam is following the Republican playbook by trying to focus on issues close to home, like promising to bring federal dollars back to fix this dangerous intersection.
I'm known within this community, and I've been an advocate for the types of things that I think resonate within the 6th District.
But keeping all politics local isn't easy when your opponent is Iraq War vet Tammy Duckworth.
When I talk about securing us here at home, it's because I'm actually doing that work in real life. It's not a theory. It's not something that the national party tells me. It's firsthand experience.
Democrats recruited Duckworth, a political novice, because of her national security credentials and compelling story. She lost both legs when the helicopter she was piloting was shot down in Iraq, a war she calls a mistake.
I absolutely support going after those terrorists, but I think by invading Iraq, we completely distracted ourselves.
She says she has seen up close what Democrats call administration misjudgments and mismanagement.
I ate steak and lobster every Sunday night in Iraq, but I didn't have enough armor for the tanker trucks that carried 5,000 gallons of aviation fuel.
Accountability and fresh thinking are her themes, a combination she calls a perfect fit for a fed-up electorate. Back at the football game, Republican Tom Fendley says Duckworth's inexperience in politics means she's not ready for Congress, but he's disappointed with his party and thinks voters should send them a message.
I'm in the school of shaking things up. I believe a lot of Americans are disillusioned right now with the whole political process.
That's why Republicans here and around the country worry they could come up a few yards short on Election Day.
Now, Peter Roskam, in order to appeal to those disillusioned voters, is doing something that many Republican candidates are doing across the country. He says, look, he was willing to and happy to accept help from the president in fundraising, but he is also eager to remind voters that he is on the ballot. It is his qualifications and his agenda, not the president's. John.
And Dana, as you noted, the Democrat on the ballot is Tammy Duckworth, an Iraq veteran. What does she make of it when her national party leaders in Washington are writing to the White House saying Donald Rumsfeld needs to go, Mr. President?
You know, I asked her about that, whether or not she agrees with her party on this issue, and she actually kind of rolled her eyes and said, no, I think it's a bad idea. She essentially slammed her national leaders for doing this. She said, when I go around this district, the last thing they want to talk to me about, the voters here, is whether or not Donald Rumsfeld should have his job. And I can tell you that that is precisely why Democrats think this is a winning issue for them, to really push this idea that Donald Rumsfeld needs to go. Because on the one hand, it allows Democrats like Tammy Duckworth running in a Republican stronghold like this to assert her independence, say she disagrees with national Democrats. On the other hand, as one one Democratic strategist I talked to today said it also really fires up the Democratic base for them to see their leaders trying to be really tough on the administration, especially Donald Rumsfeld. And that's certainly something, as we go from here to Election Day, Democrats need, as you know, to fire up their base to make sure they actually go to the polls. John.
Dana Bash for us in one of this fall's most hotly contested congressional races. Dana, thank you very much. And Dana Bash, Bill Schneider, Ed Henry, and